Thank you for joining us. This is another episode of the N to 1 for Game YouTube channel. I don't know which camera I'm going to look into, so you know what? Just I've got some backups here, so you know what? Let's not worry about that. I'm looking straight ahead. So this is our new den, and
it's a round table discussion as per the round table that we're sitting at.
I am joined by Locke and Zach. Locke's a great friend of the show. He's known for innovating Malamar, and has actually played in some tournaments that are relevant to the format. Zach, what are we here for?
We're here to talk about, the big Secaucus $2,000 tournament or something? I don't know.
Over 9,000. We'll just that'll be my fantasy. It's over 9,000.
Sure. Excellent. So the imaginary format that only exists for this particular tournament. We're discussing the format that exists for exactly one tournament.
Yep. And that's what it seems to be, because we don't know when we're getting cups and challenges back. And nobody's making any guesses. So
I mean, Knock and I had this conversation earlier that probably a rollout of events starting in September with varying degrees of attendance caps. So probably start with like challenges rolling out in September, since they're usually smaller than somewhere around Q2, possibly reinstating cups, and Q3 being the regional reintroduction.
And in Q4 you could have NAIC as the interconference.
That would be wonderful.
And Q5 will be Worlds.
Yeah.
Be back to full capacity, and to have 5 quarters. That would definitely make things interesting.
Indeed.
The format for this, it's the CGU TCG Fest, but it's comparable to a regionals. You know, we'll see what the attendance numbers are when it actually happens. Yeah, man. Everything from Team Up all the way to Unbroken Bonds. Was that no? Cosmic Eclipse was the last Sun and Moon set. Yeah, all that stuff is gone. Yep. So hey, why don't we just go straight into our pie charts here? And oof, Evan was supposed to be here, but
I can fill in for Evan.
Yeah.
You will not hear the same colored commentary you would as if Evan were sitting at this table, but you may have more insightful comments from
More useful comments.
Delac.
I asked for show prep. I asked Zach and Evan to think about what decks are going to be there overall, and what decks we're going to see in the top 32. No day 2, just top 32. I miss the old regionals format where you just get a certain amount of points and then you're in day 2. So that's neither here nor there. It's top 32. So I said, trying to remember which chart I'm looking at. Okay, so I said that Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX is going to be the most popular deck, and I think we're going to get a lot of agreement on there. Other decks that are not nearly as popular but are going to be like up in the top, 4 or 5. Rapid Strike Urshifu. I think there's going to be a lot of like lazy people who just don't want to update their decks. I mean, that's a thing to think about. Like, how many of these people that are going to show up to this event are just going to be people who live in the New Jersey? So this thing is like right up against New York. This city. This is like it has a convention center where like if you don't want your convention to actually be in New York, you hold it in there.
So fun fact, this convention center was used for one of the original Super Trainer showdowns during the Wizards of the Coast stage.
Oh, that's why the name sounds so familiar.
Yep.
Okay.
I remember it being the first really big event that I went to, and playing old school Rain Dance deck.
Oh man. Hey, you'll have to give us some story time. We'll after I conclude the video, talk about that, and if we get any good footage, we'll like put it. We'll do something with that. That sounds like a good story. But yeah, how many locals are just going to show up and be like, I'm not prepared for this? I don't know. Maybe the $50 entry will be a.
I think that's a
sufficient
deterrent for
barrier.
people that
Yeah,
just say, I'm going to show up for fun. Like, showing up for fun without, like, a guaranteed playmat or, the stuff you get normally when you sign up for regionals not being guaranteed is harder to justify a $50 price tag. I think you'll probably hit, like, the numbers that they wanted for the pricing they wanted, but I think you don't want to see people who, really care or... I mean, maybe for some people in the Secaucus area or the New Jersey area in general, $50 to actually play paper cards again is a worthwhile price
Some
for
people
it.
are going to be thirsty.
Yeah, some people are just like, man, I haven't played this game in paper in over a year and a half, and let's go.
Zach, you're killing my fantasy here. I've been hyping this up. I've been calling this the Secaucus, New Jersey, not a regionals. Right? I'm building this up to be like a regionals, but now you're telling me how it's actually not like a regionals because you don't get a playmat and you don't get a promo card.
Well, I mean, the thing is, too, like, you always have to be, like, especially in the words of TPCI, you really have to be careful about using any of their actual words for events.
Yep.
So calling it a festival or whatever you said it was called is a great way to think of it because there's no way to say, so I'm going to this regionals. No, I'm going to this big tournament. So now TPCI doesn't have to worry about, do you mean it's a regional? It's not a regionals. We never said we're having regionals.
It's a good point.
I mean, PR has to be correct on, both ends. So, I mean, you can't call it a regionals and then, people go thinking it is and it's not. And,
Reminds me of how the original XFL, they had their Super Bowl. Their Super Bowl, they couldn't call it Super Bowl. So they called it the big game at the end because that hadn't been taken. And they changed the name after that too. But
the Superb Owl.
yes, Zach, that's what
And I guess in the CGU thing is having like other games besides Pokemon.
they are.
Okay.
And and if I cared about other games, I would be in heaven.
So
I would
so it's
go
more
do
similar
that
to
stuff
like
too.
the old ARG events. That
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even just like an anime convention run under, with like the local convention here in EchoCon, they always did some big like Yu-Gi-Oh! Force of Will, Pokemon, Dragon Ball, Magic the Gathering tournament. So, they had just the one big umbrella. So they never called it anything official.
Yep.
So, sorry, Nick.
Yeah. We actually don't have an agenda. I've got notes, but this is like a random
Discussion
list of things.
things.
So no, we don't have an agenda. There's no, and I did this all the time with my old podcast I did back in Lusby. I'd have my co-host say, Nick, I'm sorry, I strayed off topic, and I said, no, it's spontaneous. It's okay.
Yeah.
And we can cut stuff out. Yeah, we're fine. I said, so we're going to see some Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. And you can partner that with so much stuff. Eternus VMAX is going to be the third most popular deck because it's easy. And then Inteleon VMAX. We're going to see some Inteleon VMAX. Probably not with the Frostmoth, but with the Melanie and Ice Rider. I put Ice Rider as number 5 next to Inteleon. And then all the way at the bottom, I said the least popular deck that's going to have actually people wanting to play it is going to be Rapid Strike Malamar. I think that's going to be a thing to worry about. I don't know, Locke, what do you think about Rapid Strike Malamar? Its viability.
I don't think it's that as strong as people think it is.
I think post-rotation it loses, Lily's Full Force, which was a big card in making it happen, and the Oricorio GX, which also helped a lot with it. I mean, you still have, like, some decent cards, but it's going to be a lot more of a struggle to hit, like, VMAX numbers, and, like, depending on what's happening, not hitting VMAX numbers could be big.
Yeah.
Well, I did put a single prize attacker in here. I need to give these guys some slack because I know somebody wants to play a single prize deck. I don't know. Hey, why don't we look at your chart, Zach? Are there any single prizers in your?
I mean, I do have Rapid Strike Malamar in the. You'll see it at the tournament, just because I think like there's like that cult group of people who really want like a single prize deck to do well, and like the Malamar really does like come out as the easiest to build and easiest to pilot of the single prize stuff. And I've seen a lot of people looking at was it the single strike Urshifu that can hit like for 220 after you use single strike roar and all that stuff. So I mean, I think that's the case there. But I kind of agree with you that Shadow Rider is probably going to be the most represented deck. I think just because it's new, it's shiny, people that are into it have already put their money into buying sets of Shadow Riders, and they're just going to play it because it's there. In second place for me, I put the Ice Rider, kind of for the same reason. People don't want to, like, I think the Shadow Rider, like the Rider decks, are more where you see people who are lazy and don't want to update things. Because they probably take like the fewest upgrades. Like I was messing around with a Shadow Rider build, and you know, there's not a lot you have to take out if you've been switching up. Like the loss of the...
This man would disagree with that heavily.
I think it's terrible that you lose the tag team attackers, and I think you have to play like a completely different style of Shadow Rider. Because I do think like, you know, like I was streaming earlier today, and 3 games I started with Gengar Mimikyu, got into the active, and as soon as I hard house, my opponent just scooped. Because like sometimes it's just that strong, and even like if they can play the game, they're behind a turn on you, so you know you lose that. But I do think like Shadow Rider has like a lot to adapt to, and I think like the people who just try to jam in random Vs, Vmaxes, basics that they see, they're not going to have a great time. Like I think you have to put a lot of thought into what you're doing with Shadow Rider if you're going to play it going forward. I don't think it's like 100% straightforward shift, but I think like you have like some paths that you can kind of forge in that direction.
Do you think with all this Shadow Rider Calyrex, hey, hold on, do you think Shadow Rider Calyrex is going to be the #1 most popular deck?
Yes.
Okay.
And so does Evan.
And so does that, yes.
And there's a difference between being the #1 most popular deck and being the best deck.
Exactly. So before you tell us what's next on your list after Shadow Rider, is Path to the Peak going to be the GOAT? Is that going to be the GOAT card for this tournament? With all those Calyrexes you can shut off, is that going to be the most important card of the day?
I think that you're just going to see like a replacement of Swells and Shadow Rider with like Training Court's probably been the most popular one I've seen. It's because like you pop the stadium, then you get to draw 2 with your stadium.
Yep.
So I mean, I think like you're just going to see people playing differently. Like Path to the Peak is still going to be super busted until we at least get like the Pumpkaboo from Evolving Skies.
Hey, tell us what that is,
so,
because I forget.
Alright, so the Pumpkaboo from Evolving Skies is when you play it from your hand, you can discard the stadium and play. So it's kind of like a slightly different Marshadow.
Okay.
But it will take up a bench space, but you can also scoop up net it and recycle the stadium destroy effect. So I think like you'll see a lot of people trying to just have like the counter stadiums down, trying to time like the the Path to the Peak counter to where, you know, if you know you're playing 3 stadiums and you get to see your opponent research one of them or quick ball one of them, you know you can, you know, pull through the stadium war. So, and I mean, I think like already you see a lot of Shadow Rider decks that play their own Path to the Peak. So
that is true.
The people who play that kind of have an idea of when they can and can't work with Underworld Door, because not every time do you need 3 to 4 Underworld Doors every turn.
And shout out to Azul GG, who showed me the Path to the Peak list of Shadow Rider Calyrex, and I thought, okay, this is dumb, and then I tested it out, and it was pretty cool. So, yeah, man.
I mean, it's used in a different way since you're not, you know, disrupting your opponent, but you at least kind of got the feel for is this a turn where I need Underworld Door? Because a lot of it was turning off your own stadiums at times.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to like a couple years ago where you just had the Zork Arbiter deck. You traded a bunch your first like 4 turns, but after you're done trading, you can just shut everything off and then just go trash for land for your last couple turns to win. So.
And what was number 2 on your list?
That was the Ice Rider.
Oh, yeah.
Then number 3 for me is Rapid Strike Urshifu with like any form of the deck. I think like the loss of the bench barrier Mew is more prevalent than the fact that people are lazy on that one. Because now there's not a whole lot stopping you from taking advantage of Telescopic Sight and Passimian. So, you know...
And speaking of partnering Urshifu with stuff, I have seen Inteleon quick shooting lists, right? Inteleon quick shooting in the Rapid Strike Urshifu. So that's 20 plus 120 is 140, right? And then, you know, plus the telescopic lens, that's 160 to something on the bench. And then, you know, I don't know, make up the other 20 somewhere else, and you get get a crow.
I mean, 30. Sight and Passimian are plus 30 each.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the Passimian, yeah. There we go. So, yeah, you now got some Crobats. That was the point.
Yeah. And it does let you get closer to like those 200 numbers on some of the smaller Vs that don't have 210, 220 hit points. I don't know of any of them off the top of my head, but there you go.
And that's something very sad. I wanted to put Voltund, Lightning Doggo. I want to put Lightning Doggo on my pie chart, but I don't think there's a place for it in this metagame. Rip.
Yeah, I don't think Lightning Dog has his life expectancy returning into Evolving Skies.
Yeah. Once it gets the
Jolteon and Rayquaza and Flaffy and all that good stuff. So, like, my first controversial one would be, there's probably going to be a representation of Cinderace VMAX decks.
Oh, this. Yeah. Okay, I definitely...
I feel like this is a deck that, like...
card by that. Wow.
I feel like it's a deck people are always trying to get to work, and it's seen some minor success, like 16s and 32s. Like, I don't think you see a whole lot of 8s or higher in terms of finishes. So I think it's going to be a time that people are going to try it out. They're going to try to depend on like that retaliate strategy or whatever his attack is called. I think it's retaliate. But, you got hit for so much, now you do that much plus 30 or whatever.
And it's 2 fire, 1 colorless.
I think the base attack just fired colorless.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The second attack is...
The second attack is...
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't believe in it, but I believe in the amount of people who would want to play it. Sandaconda V Max, that's my next one.
I tested this deck out today. Dude, it is so fun. I don't even care. I don't even care if it makes the top 32. Dude, that deck just blew me away. So I got into Worlds with Coco Spread. So, I mean, being able to hit everybody for 20 just holds a soft spot in my heart. This guy also knows a thing or two about Coco Spread, so I'm sure he would find a way to make Sandaconda work too.
I mean, I think like the best you're going to do is like spreading for a bit, then using the second attack to swap energy off and being able to Cheryl and save the energies and whatever.
You actually get to that point? I'm always Cheryling first and then not even getting the 3 energy. I mean, maybe I'm playing it wrong.
You might not, maybe I am. Then the Blaziken VMAX Zero Aura deck, I think it hasn't seen success right now because it's got too much to deal with bench barrier. One of them sneaked into a top 4 at some point. So it's got its potential there, but I think it's working around too much with, like I said, the bench barrier.
But there is no bench barrier
Yep.
in post-rotation, so...
And this is a mistake I've been trying to avoid, is projecting what we're going to have at this event based on current decks. But we're going to find out when cards get rotated out of Standard, is that's going to open up decks that were not as viable before. And so, yes, this Blaziken thing, as soon as we lose Mew Unbroken Bonds, that might just open up the floodgates.
So, going into 2 of my single prize selections here.
Yay!
The Cinderace with Libero. I think it's just got like an interesting enough mechanic that somebody's going to bring it in, trying to make it do something.
I mean, that's a way better Cinderace than Cinderace VMAX.
Yep.
It does 190, and it's a single prizer. That's
And it
pretty
recharges itself like every time it retreats and all that good stuff. So
busted. And there's no ability shut off in the metagame. Like, it's just going to go.
for non-rule box Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We'll be clear, there is ability shut off in Path to the Peak.
And technically, an E-Terran can also play Galarian and Weezing too.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and there's Empoleon, V, which could turn off Libero, but...
No,
But it's only on
doesn't-
basics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
basics.
that's right.
Yep.
Okay.
I also said Rapid Strike Malamar will appear in the overall played decks. Kind of this reason of you're in Secaucus, you want to play paper, and you don't have the money to buy both a deck and entry. You could play Rapid Strike, it's pretty cheap. And kind of like my out of left field take is Metagross VMAX.
I thought about putting Metagross on my pie chart for like a microsecond. I couldn't do it. Zacian V is just, it's just so much easier to play, and you got 220 and you've got the metal saucer. What are you thinking, Zach?
So I think like the nice thing about like Turbozation, Turbo Zamazenta is they're very linear and easier to pick up and play, and there have been plenty of decks that make it possible, but I think like the Bronzong setup with the Metagross as more of a almost control setup before you get into whatever his second attack is that hits for like 100 and 150 after that.
Right.
Could be a thing. I've seen a couple lists that play Galarian Rapidash to use the Librahorn to drop them to 100, so then you can use Metagross' second attack. Like, I think if you think about Metagross as only an attacker in the deck, like a damage-dealing attacker, I don't think like the whole goal of that deck can really shine. But I think if you think of it as the search effect function that backs up other things, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, that's kind of like my whole pie chart, but I would say there's probably room for like various sundries not listed above. But I think they're just going to take up such a small part of the pie chart that you can't really talk about.
Gotcha. Hey, you got it right in front of you.
Right.
What were Evan's top 3 decks? And then you tell us what you personally think.
So Evan put down as his top 5 Shadow Rider, E-Turn, then Rapid Strike, then Ice Rider, then Turbozation. And the only rogue decks that he put down is Dragapult, which I don't think is good at all, and Bronzong Box. And I assume it's the newer style of like Aurora energy builds, where you just play your Galarian birds, and not like a healing one where you just try to heal your Corviknight or whatever big thing.
Right.
So, I think that's the way I would play it at least. So, my top 5 would probably be Shadow Rider.
Before you go on, so Evan put Dragapult on his pie chart. I actually put Dragapult on my pie chart too, and that's where making these things gets a little tricky, because some people will put Dragapult in a Shadow Rider deck, but then like on my pie chart I wrote just Dragapult as its own separate thing where there's no Shadow Rider involved, which is still viable. So just apologies if anyone gets confused, but we've tried to make it clear in the pie charts that certain decks are not paired with certain other partners. Like I think I put well that was my example. It's Dragapult but without Shadow Rider. Anyway, go on.
I'd probably go Shadow Rider 1. I think it's the best deck by far. Then like a way smaller percentage of like Ice Rider 2, E-Turn 3, Rapid Strike 4, and then Rogue for everything else.
Gotcha. And so with Eternatus, does Eternatus have any advantages going into the format post-rotation?
Besides hitting Shadow Rider for weakness?
That is a big one.
Yeah.
But Path to the Peak is going to be a big problem, don't you think?
I still don't
For
think
everything that's not Shadow Rider, kind of, but for Shadow Rider it won't matter.
Yeah, so you're
still going to hit the big numbers.
You're still gonna, like your E-turn against like Ice Rider that plays triple path or quad path, you're probably gonna lose because you're going to play 5 pokes down.
Yeah.
I would probably actually change it from like a heavy Crobat V more down to like, I'd probably even play like the baby Crobats and
Draw 1, draw 2 lines.
Yeah, and that way when you lose all your pokes, you still have like a bunch more pokes to keep drawing more cards. Besides, all my Correct V's are useless now. So
yeah, good idea for a deck, which you'll see soon at twitch.tv/Deloc, link in the description. I just obligated him to it right now.
all right, I guess I have to make one.
I think like one other advantage the Eternatus line has is, like you kind of mentioned earlier, the Galarian Weezing, with a lot of people falling back on like the Inteleon line and the Cinccino lines for their support index.
Yep.
So I think it's kind of, one of those things where if you start, like, you might go second more often with Eternatus and just Ascension straight into, Galarian Weezing and then ruin a whole bunch of plans.
Oh yeah, like that is one way to actually beat the Path to the Peak decks because they're relying on baby support Pokemon like Cincinnos or Inteleons.
Oh,
And if you shut off,
If they
on
can't set up,
turn 2, they can't use Drizzle or Cinccino.
Mhm.
They're most likely bricking themselves, and then you could just do even if they have Path to the Peak out, just do your 180 in damage or whatever, and then just do it again next turn.
Yeah.
And knock out their VMAX. So
busted. So with the Rapid Strike Urshifu, what do you think is the best partner with that? Cinccino, Inteleon, or just play a bunch of Crobats and hope you draw well?
The way I play it is like I play it more like the Blaziken Zeraora version.
Okay.
So I just play like 2/2 Blaziken, 2/2 Rapid Strike, and then like 1 Zeraora, and then I use Blaziken to power up both a Rapid Strike and a Zeraora, and then then I have like back-to-back big damage hits.
And see, I'll say the funny thing is, my pie chart, not a single place for Eternatus.
I did shed a tear, but I know you're a dispenser of tough love, so I'm okay with that.
I think like it just gets really hard with the Rapid Strike Urshifu. I think it's kind of like one of those weird things where, Eternatus shuts down Shadow Rider, and Shadow Rider shuts down Rapid Strike Urshifu, and Urshifu shuts down Eternatus to some degree, and it just gets into a vicious cycle. So I just decided not to put Eternatus on there.
And if I wanted to play a rogue, and I was going, I probably would play Single Strike Survivor as my rogue deck.
Oh, gosh, Locke, get out of my house. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Why is it kind of good?
Because it's a single prizer that hits, that's dark. So you just auto win the Shadow Rider matchups because they're not going to knock out 4 of them.
Oh, interesting.
And you one-shot them.
Yep.
Ah.
And then you could even just play 1 bear to if you hit an E-turn or whatever.
Yeah.
This was the point I was just touching on. I said that there are cards that are already legal now that are not being played. But once that rotation happens, I think this might open the floodgates to Survivor. There you go. You converted me, Locke.
All right.
I'm in. Survivor City. Let's go.
We're allowed to say single prize decks now because ADP is not informed.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. You guys touched on every single talking point I wanted to hit, except for this one. We're gonna do top 32. I know we haven't gotten
Yeah,
there
they're
yet. Oh crap! I just lost it. Oh, so for the Shadow Rider Calyrex,
Mhm.
Are we doing a vanilla list where that's your only attacker, or do we partner it with stuff like alchemy?
I like it with the alchemy. What I've been looking at is like the 1/1 alchemy line with a couple Zapdos V, which I know you hate, and the special laser baby Necrozma.
Oh. Okay, I've seen that in a few decks, the Necrozma.
So its special laser hits for like 160 if you have special energy on it, so it lets you get through like 2 Decidueyes pretty easily.
So for me, I'd go the same, but I would cross out the baby Necrozmas for Cresselias, because I think that's just way better.
I've already had Drusilla in with that too, so...
So if you're trying to beat Decidueye with Shadow Rider Calyrex, you could just use the Calyrex V's second attack, which puts 5
Yes.
damage counters on
Yep.
2 Pokemon.
Done that
You
many
could just
times.
do that.
Yep.
Mhm.
You just do that a lot, and then you can actually
Yeah.
win. That's why I think Shadow Rider is actually favored, even without playing like a Phoebe.
I think as
long as-
Decidueye doesn't lean heavily into the Parasol.
But you can just always just
As
boss.
right, you boss or have
Yeah.
Tool Jammer. I mean, there are options. I like the idea of just having a single prizer in the Shadow Rider deck that's not just Cresselia. That's me.
I think I just think 1 or 2 Cresselia plus Astro Barrage is enough to beat Desi. Even if they play triple
Parasol.
Parasol.
Triple Parasol. Wow, that's ridiculous. So yeah, let's go to the top 32. And again, I know you don't have any notes, but
Evan did
you've
make
got-
one. So.
You've got some great memory. So I'll go first. And my top 32 is definitely different from Zach's.
Okay.
So I said, I'll just read the whole list. So we're gonna have 31% Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. It's just a huge chunk is gonna be Shadow Rider Calyrex. Then Rapid Strike Urshifu, and then Eternatus VMAX. We're gonna have 5 of those in top 32 Eternatus VMAX. And not because it's good, but just because I think there's just going to be a lot of people playing it. Those top 3 are really just because there's going to be so many people playing them. And then after Eternatus, Ice Rider Calyrex. And then I think Zach's going to stop me right here when I say there's going to be 2 Decidueye in the top 32. Because there's just going to be so many Pokemon V. And we actually discussed this before the video, and I said, no, Zach, save your criticism for when you turn the camera on. Please, Zach, tell me I'm an idiot.
I think you're an idiot. I think like after the talking point we just had of Shadow Rider has a favorable Decidueye matchup, and you're saying the biggest number of players in the tournament is going to be Shadow Rider. I don't think you can dodge, like as a Decidueye player, I don't think you can dodge Shadow Rider enough rounds to get enough points to go into cut.
So there's going to be 8 rounds or 9 rounds of Swiss depending on attendance. So yes, that is a lot of rounds to dodge Shadow Rider Calyrex.
Yeah.
Yeah, assume like everybody watching the video now realizes you could use Astro Barrage to beat Desi.
Yeah.
When before this video they realized, oh, I just lose to Desi.
Right.
So.
So I may be wrong about Decidueye. And then next after that I said there's going to be 2 Blaziken VMAX, Zeraora. And pretty much for the same reasons we just highlighted. Mew is gone, you can hit the bench and stuff. And just there's going to be a lot of people playing it. And then my fantasy pick, we're going to have 1 Zacian V. I'm all in for Sword Doggo. Without ADP, Sword Doggo is still cool. I've been testing it. I even take it to Secaucus, who knows? But one Zacian V. Do you think Zacian V has a chance for top 32?
Yeah, I put Turbo Metal Dogs on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hooray.
I don't know how it will do it with Zamazenta having to deal with multiple paths to the peak.
and Phoebe.
Yep. I think those things do make you have like a more sufferable matchup, but I also think at the same time you can build the deck in such a way that you can just overrun with like a turn 2 Zacian and just start knocking out Vs before they become VMAXs and relying on support Pokemon to knock out as opposed to going after attackers. And I feel like if you kind of leave like Zamazenta V as like your fallback or like something just to hide behind for a turn or two, I could see it.
And all those people I told you not to play Alchemy in your Shadow Rider list, actually play Alchemy in your Shadow Rider list, because I want Sword Doggo to make it. What was in your top 32? Why don't you read it for us?
My top is Shadow Rider, just on the premise of it's probably just going to have the most people playing it, followed by Ice Rider. And I think they just take like an overwhelming percentage of what happens. And so in like no particular order other than what Nick already had posted to add up to 32. I had Malamar Rapid Strike that I could see one just kind of eking in out of, pure spite. Turbo Metal Dogs. I think depending on who is interested in it, I could see Metagross VMAX coming in. I think there are like those people that are innovative enough to find out the way to make the deck the way I was describing it kind of work, and it could be that surprise from the outside come in. I'm still giving my boy Cinderace with Libero some love here. And I rounded out with Sandaconda VMAX.
Heck yeah, Cocoa Spread. You said that the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, you said 10 in the top cut. I said 5.
I said a large percentage. Like, pretty much I replaced your names with numbers, or your Dark Magician all the way down. And didn't really change the number as long as I agreed with the percentage of the pie chart it took up. So I'm not actually talking direct numbers in this list.
Exactly. Yeah. And I did say that percentages were more important than straight numbers. It just so happens that our charts actually have the number 32 at the bottom. And Zach is also making fun of the filler text that I use. So sometimes before, when I do a mic check, I'll say Latin filler text before people make fun of me. But so I wrote in these columns, I wrote Dark Magician, it's filler text, before he wrote the actual names of the decks. And Zach apparently thought that was funny.
I always think QQ references are funny.
There would have been one Dark Magician girl in there.
Yeah.
I should have done that. That's like it's like the Poke Rap. Zubat, Zubat, Zubat. Oh wait,
did I just see a Zubat? No, it was a Zubat.
With the Ice Rider Calyrex, is Frostmoth gone? Is it Bad Water Welder all the way, or is Frostmoth still alive?
I've never liked Frostmoth in Calyrex, so doesn't matter. I just don't think it'll be a thing. I think Bad Water Welder is like your preferable way to play it.
I've noticed that too. And you get 3 cards too, so go for it.
Are you gonna play with Frostlass though?
So I have seen so few lists, because I've looked at a lot of Ice Rider lists. It's so easy now with limit lists and stuff. I've seen so few lists with the Frostlass in it that I've tested it, but just not that much. Like I need someone else to put faith in it and actually try it a buttload of times before I do. I mean, what do you think?
The advantage of Frostlass is that, like, 1, you're not as dependent on Melody, and 2, now you can actually play a Cheryl. You have a turn to fully heal yourself, then go Frostlass, manual attach.
Yep.
So
I do kind of like the idea of a 1/1 or 2/2 Frostlass line in like the Minccino builds, so that you're still drawing and having that Cheryl option at the same time. And then you play like scoop up nets to recycle your Frostmoths or Frostlasses if you want to.
And that's one of the beautiful things about this is the Inteleon VMAX decks and the Ice Rider Calyrex the VMAX decks is that there's so much diversity, and there's no one universally right answer. I've seen Inteleon lists that play a 1/1 Ice Rider Calyrex, and I've seen Calyrex lists that play like a 1/1 Inteleon VMAX. Who knows? Maybe those people are right. Maybe the Frostlass people are wrong. Maybe the Frostmoth people are wrong. Who knows who's wrong? But we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
Sure will, on August 7th. Something like that.
It's the 7th, I think so. It's a Saturday, whatever date that is. It's like we're counting down to Christmas. Only if it were Christmas we would actually know what day it was. What's in your top 32, Locke?
Let's see. I would go with 15 people getting in with Shadow Rider.
A lot of faith.
I think it's that good of a deck that you can put that much faith into it.
I'll go 8 people with Eternus, just because they want to counter him. 6 Ice Riders. Probably like 4 Rapid Strikes.
So now we're up to 33 in the top 32.
Oh, sure.
It's ratios.
Yeah.
Ratios in your head.
And then like 1 Blaziken Zeraora. And 1 Inteleon VMAX.
One Inteleon VMAX? Okay. Yeah, and the Inteleon VMAX.
Oh, wait. Also, I'd also add 1 Victini VMAX too.
Okay, yeah, and you know what? Like, oh gosh. Look at my notes, people. There are so many decks that I didn't put in my pie chart that I wanted to, just because I have to be realistic here. These are actual predictions, not what I want to happen. But Victini VMAX was on there. I mean, we don't have Welder. You could, Melanie to, and
you
could do that.
You just attach twice and then you just boss stuff up.
Yeah.
Or that too, yes. So you could play Victini VMAX with Galarian Rapidash.
So you give us all the decks that you want to put on, and we'll tell you why you're wrong.
But just I was gonna say a weird deck that I would like to see that I just excluded from the list, and that is Togekiss VMAX. And you think about it, there's no lightning, right? So none of us called for lightning. So it's safe from Zeraora.
Yeah, that's just a small percentage of decks anyway. So
you can play an entire 9 rounds and not go against Blaziken Zeraora. That's a fair reality.
Yeah.
If you go 9 rounds without playing against Shadow Rider Calyrex, tell us the lottery numbers when you get home. Togekiss VMAX, same deal as it is. People are playing it right now. You just get a whole bunch of disruption cards. You get the crushing hammer and stuff.
Rugged helmets.
Yeah, exactly. And just someone to build a control deck, because there's no good control decks moving forward. So that's something wacky I would like to see played.
He has Mad Party on his list.
Okay, that is a little wacky.
Yep.
I mean, Shadow Mist just says no.
Astro Barrage also says no.
Yep. I'm a Shadow Mist you until I'm ready to Astro Barrage you, and then we're just going to start knocking everything out.
Anything wacky you would like to see in the top 32 that probably won't make it? And then I'll ask you next.
I already gave my leak of Survivors out.
Yep, that's what it was.
Wacky that I would like to see, Flapple Control.
And that would be exactly what?
The Acid Spit Flapple that adds 2 colorless to their attack cost.
Oh, that, yeah. Okay.
And then you can throw on, Rugged Helmet and Hammers and Galar Mines, just stupid stuff that says you don't have as much energy as you think you do.
Yeah, and if they don't Bird Keeper out of it or something like that, gosh, yeah. Someone do that. you watching at home right now.
And you throw in like some VMAX with the memory capsule, so you have like a butt ton of hit points to apple acid with.
Yes, I have.
This is
seen
my
this.
imaginary world that I'm living in.
Our friend Megan built this deck, and it's.
Wait, can't you just build baby Grimmsnarl to be that, but better?
I mean, theoretically, but then you're playing to stage 2.
Oh, okay, I'd rather play the stage 2 then.
I mean, you know.
And you know, rare candy is legal, so you could always like play an Intelli online to search for your rare candies to play the Grimmsnarl. Like, yeah, Grimmsnarl is practical, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I tested Grimmsnarl for this event. I'm not taking it to Secaucus, but you know.
Joke's on him, he is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if anybody in any video says, I'm definitely not taking this deck, I mean, come on, can you take them seriously? They want to win the tournament. They're not going to tell you in advance what they're going to play.
Well, the real trick is I want to bust into Nick's house the night before they get ready to leave for New Jersey, hide all of his cards except for a Grimmsnarl deck and a playmat and some dice. And then he'll be like, well, I've already paid my $50, might as well go.
Yep.
I mean, that actually, I could use a thrill every now and then. So that would be fun if somebody spirited away all of my cards and forced me, right? Like, we're not talking about pressure. He's forcing me to play this one
We'll do the
deck.
Chaz Princeton arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Hey, we got time. Tell me what that is.
He got stripped of his really good deck, and he had to build a deck out of like all commons and uncommons as his test to get into another dual academy, where he discovered the Ojama trio, and those became his trump cards at that point.
Busted.
Yep, because Ojama Delta Hurricane is a thing.
I touched on all of my talking points. Locke, any last thoughts?
I think Shadow Riders, Astro Barrage beats so many road decks that, like, if you're going to play a basic Pokemon that evolves into something that you need, I would play the 60 HP version of it. At least one copy.
Decidueye players, we're looking at
For
you.
best of luck, make your stage 2 have 100 hit points. Over 100 hit points. Or stage 1. My closing thought is if you go to this event, it's been 1.5 years since you've done this, but just a friendly reminder, shower, use deodorant.
Oh, thank you, Zach.
Nobody
Thank you so
owes you
much, yes.
anything, so please be respectful of people. But, you know, have a good time, and remember why you're there is to just enjoy getting back into the game more than trying to win this $10,000 prize package or whatever. You know, that's always great if you do, but it doesn't help if you were stank-ass the whole time.
Oh, see, I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were going to say, make sure when you Marnie, you put your cards underneath your deck and not get a game loss for shuffling into your deck.
Oh, 100%. If you have not done anything with paper cards in the last 1.5 years, or you started the game on PTCGO, solitaire hands are your friends for things like Marnie, remembering to put prize cards out, you know, just friendly advice there.
Ooh, I wonder how many people are going to be left-handed since they haven't played IRL in 1.5 years. Type in the comments if you play left-handed, or you'll play left-handed in New Jersey's. I have no final thoughts. Tell us what deck. Tell us who was the most wrong out of all of us.
Me.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you in New Jersey. How do we sign off, guys? Area dose. Goodbye.
I'm not on the team.
You're allowed to say it.
No, that part of the commentary has to be in there. Just, I'm not on the team.
Hilarious. Zach, tell us your busted Secaucus story from 2001. Go.
So, the biggest tournament I had ever played at that time was the Deep Creek Parks and Rec League Rec Center Open, which was really just the Rec Center held a tournament one day. It was about 20 people.
This is in Virginia Beach?
No, Deep Creek, Virginia. Chesapeake, Virginia.
Okay.
about like 5 miles from Rodkey's house.
Oh.
So begged and pleaded my dad to take me up there, and he's like, okay. So we go up there, and like 3 rounds in, I'm playing at table 3, and you know, no pressure, like being high table. Then the next round I was playing at table 1 and had a large amount of spectators, and then
I did not know you when you were 15. Were you as confident as you are today?
No. So there's a lot of just like, stop looking at me, like, and like I remember the like winning in I got into was like a coin flip on Fossil Articuno's paralysis effect, and I missed the coin flip, and then like we went and did all these side events, and like the one that was always the funniest was like, there was one where they would give you some bit of Pokedex information and you had to identify the Pokemon based on it.
Oh, that should have been hella easy for you.
Oh, it was hella easy, because like, here's the funny part of it. They were like, this is the star Pokemon, or star-shaped Pokemon. And I was like, Cleffa. And they're like, no, and I'm like, yes. And like, I whip out a Cleffa card, and I'm like, see, it's listed as the star-shaped Pokemon. And they were like, oh, well, I guess you get a pack of cards for it. And they had like a thing called like, Play the Masters or something, where they had like master trainers from the company or as like reps. They were pretty much like professors, but they had more clout to it, and their title was like master trainer whatever.
I remember that part.
Yeah. So, as it's important, my name is Zach, and I got to play against master trainer Zach on the stage, and that was hecka fun. So, and then like the other like random funny story of that is we went to some random place for food during the event, and my dad is far more outgoing than I am, and one of the company people were there, and she was complaining about the JetBlue airline, and funny enough, like somebody in the booth beside us works for JetBlue, and she's like, yep, this company is a load of shit. Like, I completely agree that you should not be happy. Really just didn't know if he had ever committed to anything, so.
Yep, and I did ask Megan.
Did you ask Evan's mom to make sure it's okay he paid for a hotel?
No,